Now, the Met Police are investigating whether the escape of a terror suspect from Wandsworth Prison was an inside job involving prison guards. The Forces Commissioner has said, this is Sir Mark Rowley. He said that Daniel Khalife's escape was clearly pre-planned and was extremely concerning. Wise words. His comments came as officers scoured Richmond Park in southwest London looking for Khalife, the fugitive. Scotland Yard said there had been no confirmed sightings of the 21-year-old terror suspect, but in the last hour, as we mentioned, the Telegraph has revealed a newsagent has claimed that Daniel Khalife may have jumped into a getaway car around 2 miles from the jail. The shop assistant told his manager he saw, quote, a tall, lanky dude with dark hair enter a black-coloured vehicle outside Wandsworth County Court, which is a 10-minute drive from the jail. Mike Neville is a former Met Police Detective Chief Inspector, regularly helps us out on these kind of things. Afternoon to you, Mike. I guess...
Good afternoon, Neil.
One of the problems, and you will know this as a former serving officer, when you put out an appeal, there's a double-edged sword right there, isn't it? Because, yes, it's great to get lots of information, and within all of those calls that come in and those emails and tweets now, the answer might be there. The downside, of course, is you can end up with so much stuff, you end up going down this cul-de-sac, following a story. It takes a large amount of manpower, many, many days, sometimes weeks, and it comes to nothing. There's a risk in following up every single tip, I guess.
Yes, it is. I mean, I was watching a historic drama about the Great Train Robbery, and it was the same there. The officers were reading out, you know, the people, the suspects had been seen all over the country and all over the world. And somebody has to go through them because you just don't know. It is literally a needle in a haystack. The most obscure one about the dude getting in the car may well be a good lead. I mean, what's interesting, though, Ian, I think, is that the Iranian embassy is only 4.5 miles from Wandsworth Prison, and this young man was alleged to have been spying for the Iranians. So whether he could make his way there, that would be the safest haven. Is he hiding out with friends and family, either in London or we hear the Northwest, or is he using his fieldcraft skills and he's built some sort of bivouac in Richmond Park? That was searched last night, but I imagine with the heat-seeking device, night time's the ideal time to search that area because there'll be very few people there at the time. So he's done a good job of disappearing, but of course there is lots of CCTV in that area, both Wandsworth Council and lots of private premises, and that will be being scoured now. And if they've got a reference point like this shot where he was seen to jump into a car, no doubt the police will be doing that. And one of the units I set up, the Super Recogniser Squad, they're very good at looking at videos and spotting a person. They help spot the Novichok suspect. So the police will be doing many, many things to track down this young man who's done a good job so far of disappearing into thin air.
Indeed. Well, I wondered exactly that, Mike, that when, I mean, this will be another point of interest that could be perhaps established quite quickly. The CCTV in the road where there's, I mean, the court is in that part of Wandsworth. There would be CCTV and they could follow it through from there. But you might have thought they'd already done that. I would imagine there's quite a lot of CCTV outside every exit to Wandsworth Jail.
Absolutely, but then there will have been a full CCTV troll, but it is often a manual task to do it. People imagine that facial recognition can be used. Facial recognition works if it's very high quality, front-on faces. Often they're relying on humans. As I said, with the Novichok case, that was 2 human super recognisers who had to troll through weeks of CCTV. So that will be being done, but it takes a lot of time. And the police are behind all the time. They could have used things like pattern recognition. The trousers he was wearing are very distinctive. And I had the world's first conviction for pattern recognition when I got the same man wearing a T-shirt doing 2 burglaries. I tried to get the police to put this on the database so we could search against patterns, and it's still not been done. I'm still offering that to police forces today to say, look, people wear logos, and here is a perfect example. Those distinctive trousers he was wearing, they would be very easy for a computer to find.
Isn't that interesting? I had no idea that technology could do that, but it clearly could when you were
It's
serving.
really designed for advertising, Ian. You know, if you put Coca-Cola on the Super Bowl pitch, you want to know how long your logo is recognisable for to the viewing public. And I use the same technique to solve a burglary. But that's nearly 6 years ago, and they still mess around not adopting these things. It's incredible.
But I suppose when, you know, the police obviously want to find this bloke, the security services and intelligence services want to find this bloke, and I'm sure there's Lord knows how many people involved in this case right now, but you are in the kind of needle and haystack territory, I guess.
Yeah, you are. I mean, the Commissioner said there's 3 figures, you know, involved. So hundreds of officers involved in this. And there's other things that can be done, of course, because it's very hard to disappear today. So has this young man must have a bank account. So they'll be looking into, has he used a bank account? What mobile phones has he got? Is there any electronic devices? Is he known on social media? So when they're raiding people's houses who are associates, they'll be taking all the electronic devices to look into that, because we are very much more searchable these days because people carry these things, and it's very hard to be without, especially if you're a 21-year-old young man. Would
you imagine this man has legged it to an airport or a port and disappeared to another country already? I mean, it's always a possibility, mate.
Well, it all depends on what was it just a sudden chance thing where he thought there's an opportunity here I go, or is it much more sinister and organised? As I said, if he was spying for the Iranians have already, if you remember in 2007, they captured 15 Royal Navy personnel and paraded them. So I imagine if I was the Iranians, I'd want him to transport to Iran and show everybody, look what we can do, and embarrass the West.
Yeah.
Or is it something where friends and family are involved? So what they'll be looking at, the police, is one, the collusion in prison. Was there a corrupt officer? Was there another prisoner? Or which visitors have seen him? Who has been in to see him? So, because if it is organised and he was told there'd be a car waiting at this place, then there's got to be communicated to him. And of course, the cell will be searched. They'll ransack the cell to see if there's any clues, anything written, anything electronic in those cells as well. But I'm confident that the police are very good at finding people if they need to. So there's very, very few people just vanish, about a handful of them in the last decade. So I'm positive it will turn up somewhere at some point.
We will see and watch with interest. Mike, always good to get your take on these things. Mike Neville, former Met Detective Chief Inspector, with us here